sugar, no fear. They talk loud, but I'm still here. Lakeysha Keysha, say it clear. Real talk lives right here. Yeah. Here. Spilling tea, no sugar, no fear. I'm still here, no fear, but I'm still here. Lakeysha Keysha, say it clear. Real talk lives right here.
Stretch words like T-4 minutes.
Spilling tea, no sugar, no fear. They talk loud, but I'm still here. Lakeysha Keysha, say it clear. Real talk lives right here. Yeah. Spilling tea, no sugar, no fear. I'm still here, no fear, but I'm still here. Lakeysha Keysha, say it clear. Real talk lives right here.
Stretch words like T-3 minutes.
Spilling tea, no sugar, no fear. They talk loud, but I'm still here. Lakeysha Keysha, say it clear. Real talk lives right here. Yeah. Spilling tea, no sugar, no fear. I'm still here, no fear, but I'm still here. Lakeysha Keysha, say it clear. Real talk lives right here.
Stretch words like T-2 minutes.
Spilling tea, no sugar, no fear. They talk loud, but I'm still here. Lakeysha Keysha, say it clear. Real talk lives right here. Yeah. Spilling tea, no sugar, no fear. I'm still here, no fear, but I'm still here. Lakeysha Keysha, say it clear. Real talk lives right here.
Stretch words like T-1 minute. T-50 seconds.
Lakeysha Keysha, say it clear. Real talk lives right here. Yeah.
T-40 seconds.
No sugar, no fear. I'm still here, no fear, but I'm still
T-30 seconds.
Say it clear. Real talk lives right here.
T-20 seconds. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0.
They talk loud.
Welcome everybody to the channel. I think I started a little bit earlier today. If you guys are new here, thank you for joining. I'm going to be dropping something in the chat in a second. Make sure you guys like the video. If you guys have not subscribed to the channel, you can go ahead and hit that subscribe button. And if you want to be notified when I go live or if I upload videos, you can enable your bell notification. Sometimes you guys ask me, how do you send me stuff? I did put my email in the chat. I was giving you guys another email. Use the one. If you're sending me anything, use the email in the chat because I do have a dedicated email for this channel. It was just getting a little bit hectic because I was getting so many emails. And I was like, listen, let's just send it to that email that I put in the chat. That is the email. If you wanted to donate via PayPal, you would use that email. If you wanted to donate via Venmo, you would use Lakeysha Keysha Media. Of course, if you wanted to donate via Cash App, it would be Lakeysha Keysha. You guys can also purchase memberships where I do member-only live videos, live shows. And of course, you can super chat your question. Now, I know you guys have been talking about a relationship between the guy Bart and allegedly Katie. I don't know anything about that. Honestly, I try to stay out of a lot of stuff that I hear and see on other people's channels because I have learned when I start getting off into that, I kind of lose the track that I'm on and then I start getting into their content. So I can't tell you all about anything as it relates to the relationship. I think y'all probably know about that. I don't. Okay, just want to let y'all know that. What I want to talk about is that there is documentation now that shows that Bart was places that he originally said he wasn't. And if y'all remember, that is what we've been saying about this whole case. Hell no, I'm not worried about no death threats. I'm for the shit. I wish him up the wood. Hell no. I'm the right one. I'm the right one, not me. Because we can meet up. No, not me. But let me get back on script. So basically, guys, I know that there is something with the girlfriend. I cannot talk about that because I don't know. I just don't want to talk about stuff that I don't know. But what I do want to talk about is the inconsistencies, okay? This whole case reeks inconsistencies. Different situations, different stories. Why do these people keep lying? This is why we're talking about it, because the whole case is full of lies. Now, again, I don't know nothing about the relationship or, the relationship that they're putting out on social media, unless there's some hard, concrete evidence. I can say myself, I done took pictures with a lot of people, and some of those damn people I don't even know. So if you see a picture with me or somebody, that don't mean that we're in a relationship. It don't even mean that I know they ass. I just want to put that out there. So unless there's some hard, concrete evidence, I don't know about the relationship. But what I do want to tell you guys is this report right here. And I normally don't put my watermark and stuff on stuff because I be wanting people to pass it around. But this is what I noticed, though. I literally have to get up and prepare for my show and the things I want to talk about. And sometimes I be scrolling through, YouTube, and I come across people's channel. Why they have all my stuff and don't even shout me out? So I said, let me just start putting my watermark on it because these folks be doing too much. Like, I'm just like, damn, all you have to say is shout out to such and such. They be just using your stuff and won't even say nothing. But with this report, guys, actually, let me go to the page because I actually have it on my screen, but I'm going to show you guys that one. So give me a second. Let me just go to this part. So give me a second so I can go to the right one. But if you guys remember, there was information that Bart said that he was out of town. It was just a bunch of, so let's play this. This is what we're going to do. Let's play this for a second. Why is this like that? Okay, let me play something for a second. This is what we're going to do. Okay, because there's so many different accounts of what happened, but there is a that interview that the officer 𝐟𝐨𝐫𝐞 Tatum did. Now, in this particular interview, what is this? What is his name? Warren. What Warren stated is that he actually rode with Bart. This is what he stated. But then there was information out there that, Bart said that he wasn't there. But then now that I'm thinking about it, well, he had to be there because even his own friend says that he was there. In this interview, he talks about riding with Bart.
Packed out on the south side and on the east end and in the middle of the island. But just where we were, I mean, there was easily 1,000 people. It wasn't just us.
Let's go back a little bit. I want to go back to you guys at the dock, getting on the boat. You're saying there's multiple people, probably 20 or 30 people getting on 3 boats.
Right.
What boat were you on and what boat was Nolan on?
Nolan was on 𝐦𝐮𝐬𝐫𝐫 Triton. On the way out, I went with my buddy Bart because we had a lot of friends from college coming down. And Bart, I called Bart that morning. I was like, "Hey man, can you take your boat out?" And he was like, "Yeah, well, my dad's decided not to go, and I'll take the boat and I'll take you and your friends." Of course, I mean, he's a buddy of mine. And so Bart pulled up at the dock, and I mean, I rode out there with Bart, and
So I don't want to play that whole thing because we kind of talked about it. I just wanted to bring it up. Now get into this, y'all. Did y'all remember in this interview where he said he was the first to call the Marine, or I don't remember the accurate words that he used, but essentially what he said is, I was the first one to call. I was the one first. Well, he said I was the first one that reported Nolan missing. Do y'all remember that? Put a 1 in the chat if you remember where he said in this interview, he was the first to report Nolan missing. Do you guys remember that? Do you guys remember it? And hi to everybody in the chat, the mods in the chat, Feminine Melanin. I see you. I see you. I see you. Let me shout out some people. I apologize. Corey Carter, DJ Solace, G Jones, Deborah Holder, Yolanda Patterson. What's up? Cicely Sales, Shawnee 76, Jamie 615, Chloe Davis, Kareem 717, Miss Bree, Rose, Barden, Soldier for God 47, Yolanda Patterson. So just wanted to shout out a few people, but okay, so good. So y'all remember that. The reason why I asked, because I don't want to replay it. If you remember it, we're good. So I want to show y'all something. Let's see what page. So on this page, I'm going to show it to you all. I hate watermarks, but I'm so sick of them just stealing my stuff. Okay, so on this page right here, you guys should be able to see it right here. Let me see if I can make it bigger. Yeah, you see his name right there. Whose name do you see right there? You see Bart Joseph. That's his name on there. What does it say on there, y'all? It's a missing person. It says missing persons. So why is Bart filing a missing persons report for Nolan? Because his friend, you remember this guy right here? This guy right here said that he was the first person to report Nolan missing. He also stated that he and Bart rode together. He just said that. Y'all don't remember it? Let's rewind it because he said it.
Bart, because we had a lot of easily 1,000 people. It wasn't just us.
Let's go back a little bit. I want to go back to you guys at the dock, getting on the boat. You're saying there's multiple people, probably 20 or 30 people getting on 3 boats.
Right.
What boat were you on and what boat was Nolan on?
Nolan was on 𝐦𝐿 Triton. On the way out, I went with my buddy Bart because we had a lot of friends from college.
Okay, I'm gonna give him a little bit of credit, okay? Because he said on the way out. So y'all think that he was trying to be honest? Because he just did say on the way out. Okay, he said on the way out. I don't know.
College coming down, and Bart, I called Bart that morning. I was like, hey, man, can you take your boat out? And he was like, yeah, well, my dad decided not to go, and I'll take the boat and I'll take you and your friends. Of course. I mean, he's a buddy of mine. And so Bart pulled up at the dock, and I mean, I rode out there with Bart and a lot of the girls that go to college with my friends and I, and Nolan rode out on the Triton, and then we had a Palm Beach, 18 Palm Beach. There was 4 guys on that. There was like 8 people on the Triton, and then there was 8 or 9 people on the Triton, and then there was the rest of the group, which was ranged from maybe 10 to 15 or 16 people on my buddy's tide line, which is 24 tide line.
And so you guys get on, and I know a little bit more than the audience.
So I don't want to go through that. There's also another guy that broke down his interview, and he says he does a lot of interrogations. And he said, and I will play a little bit more of it, but that interview was highly edited, and you'll be able to tell. In some of it I'll play, but I just wanted to get through that part because what I want is to show you guys this. Now, on the first page, it says that Bart put in a missing persons report for Nolan, which was kind of weird because did you all hear anything about that from? He never said this. This is, y'all, this is information that I have on the screen that you can get. This is the MMDR report. What is MMDR? I think it's like Mississippi Department of Marine or something, Patrol or something like that. I don't know the correct acronym, but Bart reported Nolan missing, but this dude never said that. He never said that. So here it says that this is a missing. Well, so let me backtrack too. This does not mean that Bart was the only person to report, because in this same report, his mother also reported him missing. But what I'm trying to bring to light is all of these inconsistent ass stories. He sat on the on the couch with Officer 𝐟𝐨𝐫𝐞. He never mentioned anything. If he did, I must have missed it. But in this report, here, y'all, it says that Bart was one of the people. I'm going to say one of the people because his mother reported him missing as well. But guess what time Bart reported him missing? Bart reported him missing at 10:05. This is the time on here. It says Bart reported him missing at 10:05. This was a missing report that he filed. So I thought this was very interesting, considering that I didn't hear anybody say that. But the crazy part of it is, this is another part of it, and y'all can kind of help me and let me know what you heard, because in the missing report for let me go up here, for the Bart guy, it says the vessel was, let me go down to page 2, let's see. It says that the vessel was a 2020 tri-craft. This is what it says on page 2. You guys should be, let me see if I can make it bigger. It's right there. You guys can see it. This was reported by Bart. All right, so let's just switch gears because I don't remember everything this guy said, but I do remember him saying that he was the first one to report him missing. Now, of course, his mother reported him missing, but I just don't understand why he never said Bart. So this was PM. I'm sorry. I said 10:05. Let me look again. I'm almost sure it said PM. Let me look again just to be sure. You know what? They don't say 10. They don't even say on here, to be honest. It says 10:05. It doesn't say. But I'm going to assume it to be PM because it does not say. Yeah, unfortunately, it don't even, that's weird. It don't say PM. But yeah, it doesn't say that. But I'm going to assume it's PM because it would, go in line with what they have already stated. If you recall, it had gotten late, but he said that it was reported around 11. But I just want to see what he says as it relates to reporting Nolan, because if I recall correctly, he made it seem like he was the first one to do it. And then, of course, his mom did it.
Because we went out there a little earlier because I wanted to see exactly what the drive was like, what the dock was like, how far it is out there.
Of course.
But I want you to tell, the audience, like, what was this trip like? How was the waters? Did you guys do anything in between the time you rode and the time you?
I know what I'm gonna do, guys. I'm gonna kill two birds with one stone. Another thing I wanted to show you all. There is a guy on YouTube, and this is the guy that I was speaking about. I guess his past history was interrogation. So he said that his past history was interrogating people, I guess, in the Army, if I'm correct. But he's going to break down a little bit of this interview. And I think this is really helpful because I'm not an interrogator. I'm not a police officer. I just know what I feel. And I just felt like this guy was lying. But this guy is going to be very detailed. Yes, that's him, Jolly Grainer or something like that. He's going to get into saying, and in honesty, he helped me because as I was watching his video, I played it side by side, and he was saying it was cut here. I didn't know that it was cut until he told me it was cut. And then I went and listened to it. And in fact, the video had been cut. It had been cut. So why are you conducting an interview that you need to cut off spaces at different parts? But this is very interesting, guys. It was always cut when Nolan's name was brought up. I understand people make mistakes, but why is it that it needed to cut every time he brought up Nolan's name? This guy knows something. He knows something. Like and let me just tell y'all this: the thing with this officer, 𝐟𝐨𝐫𝐸𝐻𝐿 Tatum, I don't like him at all because I can understand him going to conduct an interview. This Tatum guy, I feel like he was paid, and he specifically went to help them white boys. I'm just going to call it like I see it, because even this guy identifies in his analysis, he says, no, he was trying to help them out because he explains it. But let's just kind of listen to his commentary on it.
This does not mean a lie. People are deceptive for many different reasons. Like if I ask you a question, you may be deceptive in your answer because you don't want to hurt my feelings. You may be deceptive in your answer because you're embarrassed about something you did. You may be deceptive in your answer because you're worried that somebody might take it the wrong way and you get in trouble for something you didn't do. There's lots of reasons people are deceptive, which is why in my previous job, once I identified the deception, I would then use that as a point of interrogation to get to the bottom of why you were being.
I'm just gonna fast forward to
the right leaning.
Told me, Warren, we had a chance to get to know each other over the last 2 days. Went out to Horn Island, so I've had an opportunity to talk to you about a few things, and the things that you've told me have literally blown my mind. But the world haven't had a chance yet to hear your story, to hear Nolan's story through you, through his friend.
Interview. And he's leading the person he's interviewing, the interviewee. He's leading them along for things to be said that aren't being said. You can't tell, this guy can't tell Nolan's story. The evidence will tell Nolan's story, but not this guy. But anyway, it's very important that he chose that language.
And it's not just you, it's a bunch of y'all. But, some of the other guys were afraid because of the threats and the violence that's been threatened against their lives and all of the above.
It's very important that he said that.
All right, y'all. I just had to interrupt a minute, though. I was nosy. Have y'all saw Officer 𝐟𝐨𝐫𝐸𝐻𝐿 Tatum's wife? Go look at his wife. And when you see his wife, you're going to know everything, and you are not going to have a problem with him. Because this brother wanted to have a white, regular-looking wife his whole life. And I'm so glad that he got her. But that's all I got to say on that.
Yeah, because he is setting the stage. Why did Warren why is he the one guy who came forward to tell the story? Because everybody else is scared to tell the story because they keep getting death threats from the internet. Warren's mom is a judge. This is calculated. You can't convince me otherwise. Warren's mom.
Now, I do have to stop it from time to time, y'all, because this is his content. Now, I do watch some people on YouTube. When I watch his video, it honestly gave me a different perspective because he opened my eyes to things that I hadn't even realized, but I knew, but I hadn't realized. Warren's mama is a judge, whether it's his stepmama or not. What a coincidence that he was the one to sit down and give the interview. His mother is a judge. His mother is an attorney. That judges are attorneys. I mean, you would have to be, an attorney or lawyer, whatever you guys call it, to be able to be a judge. So I feel, in my opinion, that she taught him, or at least attempted to teach him, how to answer these questions. If y'all recall, I said he answered the questions with no emotion. It seemed very weird, because she trained him to answer questions. It's very hard to train somebody how to answer questions and then train them to have emotions when actually answering the questions.
As a judge. And that's who they allowed to come on and break the silence first on a very safe, curated interview where their story would not be challenged or pushed against. And I am convinced, and I'll show you why in the language that Warren uses, I am convinced that his mother, who is a judge, gave him a lot of guidance and instruction on how to give this interview and answer these questions.
But you decided that you wanted to take this bold step and give a statement
because your mom is judge.
Get your side out here. And I want to start at the very beginning of all of this and ask you, what was your relationship like with Nolan? Who was he to you?
Notice the question, what was your relationship like with Nolan? Notice the question. The question's important. When you're talking about analyzing people's language and body language and all of that, you have to understand the context of the question.
Nolan, I could describe Nolan in a million ways. I mean,
now listen, guys. He said, who was Nolan to you? This guy really helped me out because knowing that the interview seemed weird, and when I listened to him, I said, he said exactly what I was thinking. Who was Nolan to you? Listen to how he repeats over and over and says absolutely nothing. Listen to this shit.
I could describe Nolan in a million ways. I'm not going to, but I could. See, when you're an interrogator, when you're trained to listen to what people say, you got to listen to what people say. I could describe him in a million ways, but that means he's not going to.
Nolan was not just a best friend of me, but he was a brother. I grew up.
It's important that he said that Nolan was not just a best friend to me, but he was a brother. Please remember that.
Through elementary, middle school, high school, and even our freshman year of college, we talked on the phone all the time. We were really close friends. And Nolan was like a brother to me.
Okay. You see how he keep repeating the same shit. Nolan was, how many times are you going to say Nolan was a brother to me? This is, you just don't really know what to say. Y'all, he knew Nolan for sure, but they were not best friends. Listen, if somebody asks me about my best friend or somebody I'm friends with, I'll just be shooting stuff off. Oh, that girl or that, or he does this, or he has nothing. Nolan was like a brother to me. Nolan was like a brother to me. Give us some examples. He has none because Nolan is somebody he knew. They were not best friends. In order to be best friends with someone, you get intimate and you know things about them. He is a surface level friend. They were not good friends like that.
And
I said that twice.
Nolan lit up every room he walked in. He always had a smile on his face. He always had.
Those were not things that I used to describe my friend. She crazy. I remember she did this. She don't take no mess. She loves her daughter. Like, I will give you specific stuff. What is he even saying? They were not best friends at all.
Something good to say. I've never seen Nolan get in an argument with somebody and say bad things about someone. There's a lot of people that talk crap nowadays, and Nolan was never that person. Sweetest soul ever. And I had a great relationship with Nolan. I've never got in an argument with Nolan. We were super close, and
The repetitive stuff. He's saying the same shit over and over again. Nolan was a good person. Nolan was like a brother. Nolan was like a brother. Blah, 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 blah. What? So tell me, after y'all watch this, what did you learn about Nolan from listening to him? Nothing, because he didn't say nothing. He said absolutely nothing.
I've never said or will ever have anything bad to say about Nolan Wells.
I want you to notice that in that entire description, he described Nolan generically. Someone who's not Nolan's best friend or like a brother could have described Nolan. Hey, every time I saw Nolan, he had a smile on his face. I've never seen the guy be mean to anybody. He lights up every room he walks into. These are things you describe people that you just know about in your life.
Exactly. That's what I just said. This is how you describe people that you don't have a personal relationship with. What did he tell us about Nolan that we wouldn't have known from just people that have saw him on a regular everyday basis? He told you nothing. He was not Nolan's friend. What people need to understand is to become a friend is different than an associate. I always correct people with that because I don't like people going around saying that they my friend and I don't know them, because it becomes very difficult when you're saying you my friend and you really don't know me. So I always fix that. Not saying that I may not like a person, but I like to be correct in who you are to me. Don't tell people you my friend. You can say you know my name or we're an associate, but if you're saying you're my friend, people are going to expect you to know stuff about me that you don't know. So you have to be careful when people go around characterizing themselves as your friend. You should fix that. So in this situation, they were not friends. There's a lot of people that I know. There's a lot of people that I hang out with. They are not my friends. They are associates. We are friendly, but they're not my friends. That's the difference.
That's not how you describe people that you are very close to. When you describe people that you're as close to as this guy claims to be, you describe personal relationship. You describe a personal connection. You describe things that only you as a friend would know. Right? Think about how you would describe your friend. You would give personal examples. This one time we did this. You would do something that was more personable than this generic description of Nolan. And I'm going to show you in the rest of his language why I believe that his relationship with Nolan was more of just a general friend relationship. Like they all kind of hang out in the same circles.
It was definitely, like I said, a general friend. If y'all listen to it, and I'm going to say it again, this guy really helped me because I knew some shit was off. He described Nolan, but he always groups Nolan in with his friend group. So essentially, his friend group was his friend. Nolan was just the added person that came to their friend group. And it makes a lot of sense because if you guys remember Trayston's interview, you know what Trayston said? He says Nolan was the only one that really had my number. He was the only one that called me. He said Nolan actually called me. He said, now we're friends and that's my friend group, but we talk to each other via social media. And I said, they don't like you and you ain't they damn friend. Because listen, I get it. You know, you all do the social media thing, but a real friend got your phone number. A real friend is going to text you on your number sometime. They're not going to always be on social media because sometimes you may have your notifications off. You may not know. But that led me to believe that that guy, what is his name? Trayston, was somebody who wanted to fit in. And it was further verified when he said that Nolan basically made him feel good, or, you know, not in a weird way, but he was kind of saying that Nolan accepted him. And I was like, y'all the same age. You don't really need to be accepted by somebody your age, but he breaks it down really good in this breakdown.
So he interacted with Nolan a lot by virtue of that association, but it's an associative relationship, not a best friend like brother relationship. I don't believe that.
Yeah, and you guys, you said you kind of grew up together. Mm-hmm. Did you know his mom, or how was that? Because I saw in the media where it appears that she made.
I'll get into this, y'all. What best friend do you have that don't know your mama? Now, as we get older, you know, we do have friends that our mother may not know, but at some point, when you classify them joke as your best friend, your mother know. Okay. The mother knew of them. He even goes on to say he really never went over Nolan's house. That tells you a lot about him because you're saying that he was your best friend, but you never went over his house. It tells me what type of person he is because he's never really been over Nolan's house from what he said out of his own mouth, but they best friends.
Have said, at least I saw in part, that she said as if she didn't know any of you guys.
Right.
It's important that mom said that. First of all, we're not going to brush off what Nolan Wells' mother said. She said, she implied, as Officer Tatum said here, she doesn't really know these guys that well that are claiming to be his best friends. That's very important. I have kids. I know who their friends are. If you've got kids, you know who their friends are. So when I hear mom say, I don't really know these guys, that matters to me because as a parent, if she don't really know you that way, then maybe the relationship is not as close as you claim it is.
Right. If y'all remember, what did Nolan's mom say? I did not consider them specifically Tristan. She didn't say anything bad about Tristan. She said, yeah, they did know each other, but I wouldn't consider them as best friends. She said, I would consider somebody like Javon or Jalen as his best friends because the mother said they had grew up together. So the mother never said anything disrespectful about Tristan. She said what a mother says. Do you think I don't know who my especially young kids, I don't have any young kids, but when they were young, yeah, I knew who their friends were. I mean, they live in my house. They come over to spend a night. I know who the best friends are. So she just simply said what was true. She said that, yeah, he knows them. I've saw them, you know, a few times, but they were never best friends. So you don't got to wonder anymore now why. Well, you do have to wonder because it was a horrible thing. This new audio, I don't know if it's new, but it's new to me because I just heard something else in there. Based on what I'm hearing in this audio that I'm going to let y'all hear, it said push him off. So I don't know why anybody would be that hard and disgusting to anybody because I wouldn't care if you wasn't my friend and we were just associates. But it seems like they decided really quickly that they were going to take the side of somebody. Now, a lot of people, well, I won't say a lot of people, but you got this �R𝐸𝐵ATum Tatum guy that is sticking up for these kids when ultimately they all committed crimes because you cannot cover up, you know, a crime of somebody being unalive because we don't know if Nolan was hit in the back of the head. You know, people are saying that somebody urinated on somebody. Now, I don't know if that part is true, but then I don't know what to believe when on the audio it say throw him over or push him in there or something like that. That's some low down, dirty ass shit to do to anybody.
And when I listen to the rest of the words that Warren is about to say, Warren's word, the deceptive behavior of his words, makes me believe mom. Listen to this.
Well, Nolan, a lot of the times it was at like my house and
quick deflection out because we weren't over there. He was over at my house. We weren't over at his house.
At my buddy's house. We never went to Nolan's house and hung out. I mean, and my friend group's very, very tight knit.
My friend group. He mentions a group.
I mean,
now that part is very important, guys, that I didn't think was important when I first heard it. He said his friend group is a very tight knit. Okay. Now I got to show y'all something because I got to like show you something right now. This is what I'm getting from this community. It's a small community. Not only are these friends tight-knit, so are they families. Their families are tight-knit. Now, this diagram is very important because it lists who they are and what their parents do, okay? So their parents, you know, have pretty big, good jobs or whatever you want to call it, but not only is this friend group connected to each other, but the whole entire community is going to stand by these boys. So while everybody is wondering why we don't see nothing happening, Well, let Trayston tell us, because Trayston did an interview and y'all probably missed it. A lot of times I have to go back and watch the interviews a second and a third time. But in this interview, he actually threatened and basically said, don't F with Mississippi.
After where has your civil rights been broken? Where has it been shown? You brought Benjamin Crump to stir up a community that's already tight-knit. Yeah, we might not be best friends with everybody, but I promise, if you're talking about Ocean Springs as a whole, Ocean Springs is going to have Ocean Springs back, 110%. We back each other. Everybody I've seen, we back each other. And for them to push this narrative and really push it just shows me is like, you have no idea who you're dealing with or who
you have no idea who you're dealing with. That sounds like a threat to me. What are you talking about? You have no idea who you're dealing with. Ain't that weird to say?
Shows me is like, you have no idea who you're dealing with or who you're messing with. And I think he's taken.
Did y'all hear that? You don't have no idea who you dealing with or who you messing with. What? He said they are a tight-knit. It means if you're in their group, they got your back. Okay? That's what he's saying. He just said you don't know who you messing with.
I mean, we hang out every day when
we hang out, the group.
We're back home from school. In high school, we hung out most weekdays and every day on the weekend. And
we hung out. He's not talking about him and Nolan. He's talking about his friend group. You have to listen to the words.
Exactly. He's asked about Nolan. He has not given us anything. So if this guy is Nolan's friend, listening to him talk, you don't know anything different than you already came into when you was watching this video about Nolan, because he ain't told you shit, because he was never his friend. Now, I've had my group of friends. So when I was growing up, I had several groups of friends because I was just friendly, period. But in all honesty, each group of my friend was my real friends, because I just didn't have a few people that I hung around with. I had different groups, but I knew when I was with my core group of friends and when it was an outsider. It's just what we called them. Like, not saying that we didn't have their back, but they just wasn't our core friend group. This is what he's saying. Nolan was around, but he ain't telling you any example of when him and Nolan has really hung out. Shit, he can't even tell you nothing about Nolan. He done went around that 1,000 times.
People say, he said, my friend group. He didn't say me and Nolan. He didn't say me and Nolan hung out every day and me and Nolan were tight knit and me and Nolan hung out on the weekends. He said my friend group. Let's back it up. I want you to listen to it. I want you to hear the words he says. Very, very important. Back this up just a little bit.
Never went to Nolan's house and hung out. I mean, and my friend group's very, very tight knit.
My friend group's very tight knit. And from this point on, everything he describes is his friend group, not him and Nolan.
I mean, we hang out every day when we're back home from school. In high school, we hung out most weekdays and every day on the weekend. And I mean, we were never at Nolan's house, which, you know, there's nothing wrong with that. But I met his father, and I mean, in 8th grade, that's when Nolan and I like got really close. It was COVID year, and we were in class all year long together, me and a couple of my buddies. And
we were in class all year long together, me and a couple of my buddies. Every time he mentions Nolan, I want you to notice that every time this guy mentions Nolan, he ropes in the friend group. He has to rope in the friend group because his relationship with Nolan is not this best friend, like a brother relationship that he's presenting it to be, which is why mom doesn't really know him, because really Nolan was just in the friend group, the general group of friends. It was an associative relationship, which is why the only way he can honestly give an answer right now is to rope in the friend group.
Exactly. The way the way he described this is perfectly. He doesn't have any individual experiences with Nolan, because Nolan was just one of the people that came around as a part of this group. Y'all know how it is. You have friends in the group, but then you have some that you hang out with and you actually spend time with outside the group. But this dude was asked about the different times or, what type of person Nolan was, and he gave us nothing. If you guys are just joining, make sure you go ahead and like the video. I appreciate it.
Nolan and I just got super tight because we get a Waffle House once a week together, eat, and we were just super, super close.
That's the first personal example he's given this entire interview, is them meeting at Waffle House. That's what a personal example looks like when you're talking about a friend.
But his dad would swing by Waffle House, and hang out around us, but never, I was never around Nolan's parents a lot. But that didn't change our.
This is your friend, but you don't know shit about his parents. You ain't never been around his parents. But you see how he slow baked that in. We were friends, but I ain't never really been at his house. I really don't know his parents like that. So are you really his best friend?
Relationship, and Nolan and I were still just as close, and he was just as close with my friends as anyone else. So
as anyone else, because it's an associative relationship. Me and Nolan were just as close, and he was just as close with my friends as anyone else. He always has to bring in the friends because it's a friend group associative relationship.
Oh.
And walk me through the day of 4th of July where you guys were all going out.
Right.
This seems like something that.
Now, this is important too, guys, because remember, I just read you the first part of this report here. I think it's about 15 pages. And it's a lot of other information. But the reason that I read the first page 1 and 2 is because in that page of the document, it's Bart doing the reporting. But I do not recall in this interview that he mentioned anything about Bart ever. So I want y'all to hear this part where he describes the day that they decided to, go out on the 4th.
I would assume that may have occurred more than just this year.
Yeah, of course.
These are leading questions. He's leading. This guy, Officer Tatum, is leading the interview to come to a pre-designated conclusion. It's so obvious.
Something that you guys did more than just this year. It's a 2-part question. I want to know, is it something that you guys typically did together, that you hang out often in this fashion? And then I want you to then walk me through 4th of July this year when the incident happened.
Okay.
Now listen to the answer. You heard the long, drawn out, very pointed, very leading question. It was a poorly designed question, but it was on purpose. And so now listen to the answer, because the answer is not the answer.
Being from the Gulf Coast, there's boating and fishing is very, very popular. The 4th of July, every year, my friends and I, or my family and I, are out on the water. That's the one day is guaranteed everybody's going out. And that's a known thing. Everybody's trying to get a ride out to Horn Island, or, people go to Ship Island, but most of everybody from Ocean Springs and the Gulf Coast go to Horn Island. And, we went last year. Nolan was on the boat with me last year.
Y'all pay attention, because the video gets cut. So whatever it was that he said, they cut it out. But keep in mind, this Brandon Tatum, or whatever this a-hole guy is that's conducting the interview, if you're there to get their side of the story, why the hell are you cutting it? You should just run that shit straight through. Why are you giving him the opportunity to fix up what he has to say and all of this? So he's going to point that out, that it was cut.
Here and
you see what I want you to watch that. Watch the cut. They cut the interview. Very, very, very important. Watch this. Watch when he said Nolan was on the boat with me last year. Watch this.
Springs and the Gulf Coast go to Horn Island. And, we went last year. Nolan was on the boat with me last year. And
you see that cut? Nolan was on the boat with me last year.
And see, listen, I did not see the cut until I watched his video. So I was like, oh my gosh, I missed it. So he's very, very informative. Again, if you are conducting an interview and you say you have all of this information that these boys are innocent, and now this 𝐟𝐨𝐫𝐸 Tatum is on his YouTube channel basically spewing all sorts of lies saying that Nolan was allegedly doing, you know, 𝐟𝐸𝐵𝐠 and stuff like that. Totally, totally disgusting when you are out here trying to ruin the reputation of a deceased person. You are a sick ass person. But he went on this interview, conducted it, and then allowed this boy to cut it because he said something that probably would have made him look worse than how he's looking now.
Why would the interviewer cut the interview? Because he probably said some shit that's very telling. He had to point out that Nolan was on the boat with us last year. That's how close we are. We're just best friends. Nolan was on the boat with me. And in a minute, he's going to describe how the boat is 2-3 boats, 20, 30 people. Because once again, it's not about how it's not because him and Nolan are so close that Nolan was on the boat with him last year. Nolan was on the boat with him last year because apparently that's what people do in groups of 20 and 30. But that cut right there, very, very telling. He didn't, that wasn't an edit at just a random part. That was an edit at the exact part he's talking about Nolan being with him last year. But probably because Officer Tatum and his team was like, ooh.
Right. I'm glad you put that in the chat. Lakeysha Keysha, is this leading to a lie by Bart? So that's the thing. We don't know what exactly he said, but now that I can see, you know, and identify that the interview was cut, we don't really know what was said. But if Tatum is getting to the true story of what happened, why in the hell is he cutting different parts out of the interview? Why is he doing that? So something that he said, it made him look stupid or made him look guilty. Because again, if you're there, as you say, because you have so much information that they didn't do it, let the shit run straight. Why are you cutting things out? But he's going to identify other cuts in the interview. And it seemingly is always centered around when he brings up Nolan's name.
Take that out. Whatever he said, we don't know.
And he was, I mean, this was a common thing. My friends go on the boat when we're home.
Why didn't you finish the sentence? He's talking about Nolan now. He's talking about Nolan and he doesn't finish the sentence. He says he was on the boat with us last year and he was my friends and I, because he goes right back to the friend group because he's not watch how he does it.
I mean, this was a common thing. My friends go on the boat when we're home.
Where's the rest of that statement?
That's what we like to do.
Because he's being deceptive.
My friends like to fish also.
My friends
like to go on the boat. Not just
listen, somebody put it in the chat. Let me go ahead and read this. Griffin, thank you for the $5. You said Warren mom told him what he could use and what he and what not to use in the video. I feel like he probably had to send this to that mama to cut it. She probably cut the damn interview. She probably did it. Gelato, welcome back. Thank you for the super chat. $9.99. So the mixed boy saying the more loyal to Ocean Springs than his so-called best friend. I wouldn't want to be friends like that around. I wouldn't want any friends like that around me. I don't believe none of these people were his friends. His mother said Javon and Jalen. She said the other folks, she would not consider them as friends. And hey, that's his mother. How we going to disregard what his mother say opposed to some outsiders? Thank you for the $10 super chat. I can't even pronounce your screen name. Kawakadu. I can't pronounce that, but thanks for the $10. I can read. I just can't read that. Okay. But so y'all, let's get back into it.
Fishing, but like to go on the boat, like to go on sunset cruises, like to do it all, you know, on the water, you know. And
what the hell was that? I like to go on sunset cruise. I just like to do it all. I like to do it all on the water, you know. We don't. What does that even mean? Incomplete sentences. This is what coach looks like. Because when you're coach, you're told what to say and what not to say. So what does it do? It limits your free speech because you don't know, you don't want to talk how you would normally talk because you've been coached to say this or that. So that's why he sounds like a damn robot. We like to, you know, do it all on the water. What?
I mean, Nolan loved to do that too. I mean, he was
Nolan loved to do what? We like to do it on the water. Nolan loved to do that too. You're not telling us anything, sir. Do what on the water?
Here's all my friends do. And oh, by the way, Nolan too. It's an associative relationship.
It's not like anyone. He was just like everyone else in our friend group. He loved to go on the water, and
he has.
Do y'all see how this is just repetitive over and over, the same damn words? He's recycling the same words. We like to do it all on the water. Nolan like to do it too. Yeah, we like to do. What?
There's nothing specific to say about Nolan. You can't be a best friend with a guy. We're like brothers, but every single time he talks about Nolan and his character and anything about Nolan, it's just like everybody else in the group. He's just like everybody else. There's no difference. It's very generic.
Have a good time with the guys, and that's what we did a lot. But 4th of July, everybody was out there. Like I said,
if you guys recall, he told us nothing specific that they did on the water. He just said, we like to do it all on the water. What do you like to do on the water? Again, he's been coached to say specific things, and this is what coach looks like. It's like if you ever watched a trial where somebody is, they're testifying for themselves, and they're very particular about what they say. This is what this is giving.
Like Nolan was always trying to go on the boat, trying to go out there with us, and he was always welcome to come. Nolan
with us, not with me, not my bestie, not hey twin, we're going on the boat. Nope, it's with us. He wants to go with us, the group, my friends, the group.
Was always out there with us, and
us.
But started 4th of July. My buddies and I had talked about this week's upcoming. Everybody's very, very excited for.
He just did what's called a timeline switch, and this is also this is something, if I was taking notes in interrogation, I would take a note of that and I would come back to it and I would exploit this area, because why did you timeline jump there? I'm going to tell you what he did, and I'm going to let you listen to it one more time so you can see it. He said it started 4th of July. My friends and I spent weeks planning up to this. So he started on the 4th of July. He said
another thing I want to say. He just said they had been planning it. Now, if you guys, I don't know if some of you just got in, but if you recall, he said that he called Bart last minute and said, Bart, you want to go? And Bart was like, yes. So how in the hell had you been planning this for weeks? Because last minute you said that you called Bart. How are these boys out and not in damn jail? You are lying. No, it's no allegedly. You're lying, because you have said one thing and then you said another. You see what I'm saying? He just said earlier in this interview that he called Bart and, asked him if he wanted to go, and Bart, whatever, I don't remember exactly what he said, but then in this same interview, he says, we planned this for weeks. Well, apparently you didn't plan it with Bart.
Starting 4th of July. Then he went 3 weeks backwards. And anytime somebody does that, you got to take note of it. Like, why are we timeline jumping? Watch.
My buddies and I had talked about this week's upcoming with us, and he was always welcome to come. Nolan was always out there with us, and
watch.
And that was a good point out. Let's see. Let me see it. It says he's painting Nolan as a tag along. Who says their Betsy is welcome to come along with us? Exactly. Because what he's really saying is Nolan always wanted to go. And we were like, okay, you can go. But generally you invite your friends, don't you? Your friends don't have to necessarily say they need to go, because your friends, you're going to make sure, hey, we're having a party. We're going out on the water. You coming? But he made it seem like Nolan was a tag along. That's exactly what he did. He never described Nolan as a friend. If he did, I missed it.
But started 4th of July. My buddies and I had talked about this week.
My buddies and I had talked about this weeks in advance.
Week's upcoming.
So he just did a timeline jump.
Everybody's very, very excited for the 4th of July from down here. Like it's a big thing.
It's a big deal.
Very, very big deal. And I actually stayed with Nolan that night at my buddy's house, and
I stayed with Nolan He's using that language so that you'll feel like him and Nolan are just so tight.
Exactly. He said, I stayed with Nolan, but then says he didn't really stay with Nolan. What happened was Nolan stayed with them at his buddy's house. You see what I'm saying? It's just like if somebody said, you know, why is he doing this interview? I'm going to tell you why he's doing the interview, because this is what we've been talking about this whole time. This is a cover up. I want these people to go to jail. And I'm loving how the mother is moving. If you guys have been reading the headlines, the mother has subpoenaed all social media. She ain't playing with these hoes. And I'm so glad that she is. I just kind of wish they would have did it a little bit sooner. But she has subpoenaed the records from all the social media because in all honesty, she has to do it within a certain amount of time, because I don't know what the time frame is. They may say we don't have it anymore, but I believe right now she's well within that time. But why does the mother even have to do that? Why is the state, why haven't they did that already? So I'm glad that the mother is letting these hoes know, don't mess with me, okay? These people, this systemic racism, this is just what they do. And you just have to sue them and let them know that you ain't her, you ain't him. So that is why they're doing it, because they have no intentions on putting these junkies in jail, because Antonio Coates, those boys are junkies. Yeah, I believe it too. Also now, since the word is being put out by these media, TMZ, and then we have this race Batum Tatum. Now they're putting out information to say that, you know, Nolan was on this, and it's really sad.
I stayed with Nolan at my buddy's house. So you stayed with your buddy and Nolan just happened to be there, but you're misrepresenting the nature of your relationship.
I woke up at my buddy's house and we went to McDonald's.
You see it now. I ain't even gonna tell you anymore because now you're starting. Now I've trained you.
McDonald's got food. No,
we went to McDonald's and got food.
Was not with me.
So basically, what he's referring to is more edits. It's not running smoothly. It's you know kind of how we're having a conversation, and then I just stop, and then I just start talking about something else. This is what we're seeing here. It's a pattern of stop, and then you start talking about something else. Essentially, what that means is editing. A lot of times if I go on TikTok and I'm doing a TikTok video, I'll tell it to remove filter words. So what it does is when I stop a sentence, it'll immediately pick up to what I say next. What you're seeing on this interview is you're seeing a lot of cuts. And when I was watching it, I was wondering like, what's going on here? But he, you know, kind of opened my eyes to realize that it's been cut.
Nolan was not with me. Me and my buddy woke up and went and got food. Nolan was not with me. My brother, my homie, my bestest friend in the widest world, he went with me.
And I went and got breakfast. I had my buddy's boat hooked up to my truck. And well, first I ran to my house, then I went to McDonald's and came back. And
he did a timeline jump again. Y'all getting trained, ain't you? You starting to figure it out, ain't you? What? He's all over the map. Anytime somebody's all over the map, when you're asking about an event that should be sequential, it's very deceptive. It's red flags like a month.
It's very deceptive. If I ask you a straight question, generally, I don't know if you all ever took a lie detector test, but let me kind of explain to y'all what they do. When you take a lie detector test, the first thing they do is ask you basic questions that you would know. They would say, is your name, like they'll say, is your name Lakeysha? Yes. Were you born on this day? Yeah. Do you have one child or do you have two child? So they ask you the questions because they know that those are true, you know, and they see what your response is. After they ask you questions that they already know, that you know the answer to, and they know how you respond to the truth, now they know how you respond to lies. So essentially, what he's saying is he can detect deception because, dude, you're being asked basic questions and you're sitting up here, you know, you're going around a choo-choo train. Can you answer the damn question? Like, what are we doing here? This is a straightforward question. You said Nolan is your friend, and you don't even know the basic answers to basic questions about your friend. Thank you for the $5 super chat. Griffin, you said, also planning the narrative for the blogger Sugar. I believe that's what he was referring to when he said we all like to do it on the water. I don't know. Could be.
Motherfucker. If I was doing an interrogation, I'm going to be all over this timeline right now, especially when we're talking about the timeline of the morning of the event in question. If you're doing an investigation, interrogation, and you have an event in question, and we're talking about the timeline the morning of, it is very problematic to have this many red flags in the sequence of events of the morning of. I'm going to play back the morning of. Now that I've trained you to listen to the timeline, I want you to listen to what he says. I want you to follow the order of events. Him and his buddy woke up. They went to McDonald's. Then what happened next? Watch, follow it in your brain, and you're going to see how much he's being deceptive. Watch.
At my buddy's house, and we went to McDonald's, got food. Nolan was not with me, and I went and got breakfast. I had my buddy's boat hooked up to my truck, and well, first I ran to my house, then I went to McDonald's and came.
Whoa! I thought you went from your buddy's house to McDonald's. Notice how you got food twice too. By the way, he said me and my buddy woke up, went to McDonald's, and I got some food, got breakfast. Yeah, that's what McDonald's is. So you mentioned that twice. Then all of a sudden he went back to his house, then back to McDonald's.
He's nervous. I don't know why this idiot. He keep repeating shit, like seriously now. But he's repeating it out of being nervous. Now, I repeat stuff because I know what I'm doing live. People join at different times. So sometimes people be in the chat and be like, I'm sorry, what we talking about? So that's why I'll repeat stuff. But he's repeating, we went to breakfast. Then we went back, we went to breakfast. He's nervous. Why isn't Officer Tatum, Race Tatum, or whatever his damn name is, why he ain't saying nothing? He claimed he was an officer before. I don't know who he was before. I don't know him. But if you were an officer before, you know when people is lying. This don't even make any damn sense.
Right? He's actively trying to give you a story that has been given to him. His mother, who is a judge, I believe, this is my opinion.
I believe that too. The reason why I'm telling you, it's very hard when somebody coach you, because when you're coached, they tell you what you should say. But now you got to take that into your mind, and now you got to put it out. So that's why we see him with no emotions, because he's processing what he's been told to say, and it's coming over real messed up. I believe his mother coached him too. Now, somebody put in the chat he was born while his mama was in jail. I don't know. Who are y'all talking about? Because I'm confused on that. Don't know anything about that.
Has coached him on how to answer questions on the timeline the morning of. Why? I don't know. I'm not saying this guy did it. I'm not saying this guy did anything. I'm not saying that. I don't have the evidence to be able to say that. What I'm saying is this is deceptive. What I'm saying.
Okay, we're going to get you out of here. Trench Life, have a good day. Get out of my chat. I'm not going to repeat to you why I keep stopping the video, dumbass. I have told you, idiot, why I keep stopping the video, dummy, because it's somebody else's content and you cannot just play their content without giving commentary, you moron.
Is you're not giving me a sequential order of events, and it's very red flaggy.
Back and the boat was already hooked up to my truck.
The boat was already hooked up to my truck. I went to my house and got my house. Did you hook the boat up, or was the boat already hooked up? Did you go to your house, or did you go to McDonald's?
My buddy White and I went, and with my buddy and we went.
See that cut? Another cut. Another cut. He's in the middle of stumbling through the timeline. He's all over the fucking place. Officer Tatum knows he's all over the fucking place. So they probably coached him right here. Watch the edit. You can see the edit. Once again, watch.
The boat was already hooked up to my truck. My buddy Wyatt and I went, and
I think he said Wyatt there. It's also important that I think he said Wyatt.
The boat was already hooked up to my truck. My buddy Wyatt and I went, and with my buddy and we went.
See the edit?
So listen, y'all. Okay, so this is one of the parts that I wanted to get to. Okay, it was edited again. I believe, now I don't know because we don't know, it was edited. I believe he said Bart's name again. Why is the damn video edited like this? Come on now. Let's kind of rewind it a little bit because he said someone else's name and it was edited. You can tell because whenever something is edited, it doesn't flow. It flows, but you can always notice that there's a pause. It's a brief pause, and then it cuts to what the next thing they're going to say. I mean, you can edit stuff, but you can tell when something has been edited. So let me just rewind it a little bit.
The boat was already hooked up to my truck. My buddy Wyatt and I went, and with my buddy and we went.
See the edit? See, watch his head jerk. See the edit? I'm doing one more time in case you missed it.
And well, first I ran to my house, then I went to McDonald's and came back, and the boat was already hooked up to my truck. My buddy Wyatt and I went, and with my buddy and we went.
See it?
Filled the top of the boat off, loaded it down with ice, and just got everything ready.
So why is it so important to make sure Bart's name isn't mentioned? Why is that? So why is it, because again, we don't know what happened, but we're gonna get into it. So let's just let this play.
Then Wyatt went and put his smaller boat in the water, which is the Palm Beach. He's an 18-foot Palm Beach, and I drove the boat from Fort Bayou boat launch to my buddy's grandparents' house, and that's where we all planned to meet up that day. And
you say we all, who are you talking about? You, Nolan, or no?
Keep in mind, this entire time, Nolan's still not with him. He said they went to McDonald's and get food, then ran to his house, and it's all over the fucking map. But he wanted to point out with you, Nolan wasn't with me. We're best friends. We're like brothers, but I'm never with the guy. But we're like best friends. We're just never together.
And how many people are going to meet you guys there?
We had roughly 20 to 30 people coming on 3 separate boats with us. And so we were all following each other out there as one big group. It wasn't just me and Nolan.
So it's important that he said that it was one big group, because originally the stupid Officer Tatum dude made it seem like people said that it was only a few of them. Nobody ever said that. I believe what people said is he was the only black on the boat. Nobody said that he was the only black there. I mean, I'm sure it was blacks, but even looking at the picture, it was still more white people. But it's important to know that it was a bunch of them, okay? It was just not him, as he stated. Did he say 3 boats?
A couple of my buddies. There was 20 or 30 people spread out where we all met at the dock before, and then we departed to go to Horn Island. It wasn't just a couple of us. I mean, there were so many people, we had to split up between 3 boats, and we all left and all got there at the same time.
Yeah, I just want to make sure that's clear, because the statements that are out there made it appear that it was just you, Nolan, and probably 2 or 3 other guys.
That's a lie. See, Officer Tatum is leading this interview on purpose to be deceptive, to make it sound like the narrative on the internet's the evil villain here. It's just not true. Nobody, I've been following this case since it happened. At no point did anybody say it was just him and a few friends. Everybody made it clear there was a bunch of people there partying. Early on in this case, we saw cell phone footage of what appeared to be an argument. We now know it was another friend who says that was him in an argument, but we've seen tons of boats around, tons of people around. Since the beginning, they've been asking for witness statements because everybody acknowledges that there was tons of people on the island. So Officer Tatum is just flat out lying here and setting this question up so she'll question the veracity of everybody on the internet. And this poor kid who's just here telling the truth is trying to debunk the internet.
And here's the deal, guys. If he is protecting Bart, he is just as guilty. Because guess what? I cannot go anywhere and witness a crime and walk away. Okay? So he ain't protecting anybody. He's just as guilty. So he is just as guilty. If you protect somebody that commit a crime, it ain't like Bart went and stole nothing from the store or something stupid. If you unalive somebody and you stood there and watched it and you didn't call the police, he might as well have helped him. He might as well have helped him. He is just as guilty. So we're not going to minimize what he did and say he protecting Bart. He protecting himself because essentially they all did it. I don't care if one person was the one who started it. They had decisions and they made their decisions. They assisted in a crime. If they participated, even if they just watched and didn't say nothing, they choose to lie. That is, hey, it's the same thing. People get just as much time covering up a crime as the one that actually committed the crime.
This is a setup.
And y'all are the only ones that went out to this island.
And that's completely incorrect. I mean,
and nobody ever said it. So
Horn Island on the 4th of July is the most popular day to be on the water on, throughout the entire Gulf Coast. I mean, everybody and their mom is on the water on 4th of July, There's no telling. I mean, roughly probably 2 to 3, maybe even 4,000 people out there. There were boats lined up off the island. I mean, there was 3 rows of boats all the way until my vision ended, until I could see of people there was 1 row of boats.
Like, that might sound deceptive, but it's just him. What he was trying to say, as far as my eye could see. But I don't find that to be deceptive. I just find that to be a 18-year-old who couldn't find the word.
And then there was another row of boats, and then there was a 3rd row of boats.
Yeah.
I mean, there was people lined up all up and down the island to where, I mean, who knows? I mean, and that wasn't just, we were parked on the north side, on the west tip. It wasn't just there. I mean, there's tons of people packed out on the south side and on the east end and in the middle of the island. But just where we were, I mean, there was easily 1,000 people. It wasn't just us.
Let's go back a little bit. I want to go.
I want to address this comment. Listen, we don't know. You could be absolutely right. Dang it, where did that comment go? It just went, okay. Is it Deidre Bunch? Bart was upset that Nolan was talking to that town tramp. Katie, listen, that could be it. It could be it. I don't know. I just, I don't know. Is there other information out other than a picture though? Because I don't know if we can confirm anything by a picture, because a picture, unless it's a picture where, they're being real explicit in the picture, but a picture, me standing by somebody, don't really indicate that we're in a relationship. But this entire thing has been about nothing but lies, because originally, it was that they didn't know Katie. So it's very interesting now that people are coming out saying that Bart and Katie had a relationship, because then originally they said they didn't know her. So, I kind of feel like she's in it as some part of it that she's not telling as well, because they didn't know her. They know her. It's something else. If y'all recall, listen, let me bring this up on the screen since you put that in the chat. Janetta Brantley, the audio engineer that cleared the beginning of that, well, she cleared the whole thing, but she made it where we can actually hear it a little bit more. In her statement, she stated that she can not only hear names, she said she definitely heard Wyatt, Warren, Will, Bart, Nolan, and she said 2 unidentified females. She said the women were the ones that she said suggested that they cover this whole thing up. Very interesting. So the women, according to her, she heard them saying that they wanted to cover it up. Sound like a story of Adam and Eve. You can't trust these damn women. So they done put all of y'all ass gonna be in prison because you listened to some stupid hoes, when all y'all had to do is just get him help. Okay. Now I did read what you sent, Booger Sugar. Yeah, I believe they was definitely having some booger sugar. I believe that.
Go back to you guys at the dock, getting on the boat. You're saying there's multiple people, probably 20 or 30 people getting on 3 boats.
Right.
What boat were you on, and what boat was Nolan on?
Nolan was on 𝐬𝐮𝐻𝐿 Triton.
Cut. There was a cut right there. There was a cut right there. Watch the cut. Cuts are important, especially in an interview like this. When he says Nolan was on 𝐬𝐻𝐿's 22-foot Triton, watch the cut, the edit.
Boats.
Right.
What boat were you on, and what boat was Nolan on?
Nolan was on 𝐬𝐻𝐿's 22 Triton.
Saw it.
On the way out, I went with my buddy Bart because we had a lot of friends from college coming down, and Bart, I called Bart that morning. I was like, hey man, can you take your boat out? And he was like, yeah, well.
Keep in mind, guys, he said, man, can you take your boat out? Didn't he just say that they planned this for weeks? What did this boy give an interview? Why did he give an interview? Did y'all not hear it when he said we planned this for weeks? So if you plan this shit for weeks, why are you calling your friend at the last minute saying, hey, you want to take your boat out? How are these fools free? This doesn't even make sense. He said earlier that they planned this, but now you called them last minute.
He called Bart the morning of, but they were planning this for weeks in advance. Keep in mind, everybody agreed. Just a minute ago, he said everybody agreed to meet, I believe, at 𝐬𝐻𝐿's grandfather's house, is what he said. And so he drove 𝐬𝐻𝐿's boat from the dock over to the grandfather's house where they agreed to meet after they got McDonald's and everything else. Now he's saying, I called Bart the morning of. It was like, hey, can you bring your boat out? But just a minute ago, they put 3 weeks of planning into this. Remember that?
Remember, guys, that's what I was saying. That's why I like him, because he made me think, how can both of these things be true at the same time? If you planned it for weeks, why did you need to call him at the last minute? That don't make no damn sense. I cannot believe that they're innocent, because the stories don't make no damn sense. Even if I knew nothing about this and I listened to what he said and then what he said again in the same interview, it don't make sense. You planned it for weeks, but then you call Bart at the last minute. I mean, so who did you plan it with? Clearly you didn't plan it with Bart.
I remember when he said, when he did that timeline jump with the 3 weeks of planning, it's very deceptive that he's now telling us last minute we added a whole new boat. It's this guy Bart, who, by the way, was just so happened to last minute be available to bring his boat. Thanks be to the heavens.
My dad decided not to go, and I'll take the boat, and I'll take you and your friends. Of course, I mean, he's a buddy of mine. And so Bart pulled up at the dock, and I mean, I rode out there with Bart and a lot of the girls that go to college with my friends and I, and Nolan rode out on the Triton, and then
once again, he's not with Nolan. Like a brother to me. Like a brother. I ain't never with him, mother. I ain't never with him. He's like a brother to me.
At a Palm Beach, 18 Palm Beach. There was 4 guys on that. There was like 8 people on the Triton, and then there was 8 or 9 people on the Triton, and then there was the rest of the group, which was ranged from maybe 10 to 15 or 16 people on my buddy's tide line, which is 24 tide line.
And so you guys get on, and I know a little bit more than the audience do because we went out there a little earlier because I wanted to.
So what he did say, which was information that we can keep and use for the next part that I'm going to show y'all, he said it was 8 to 9 people on the Triton. This is the Triton. This is the report that Bart made. In this report, he said that it was the Triton. So we know that it was 8 to 9 people or within something like that, because we don't know if he's lying or telling the truth. He said it was 8 to 9 people that was on the Triton. Take it with a grain of salt, though, because we don't know for sure. This guy is he's not telling the truth.
See exactly what the drive was like, what the dock was like, how far it is out there. Of
course.
But I want you to tell, the audience, like, what was this trip like? How was the waters? Did you guys do anything in between the time you rode and the time you get to the island? Was there music?
So somebody said you thought it was 7 people on the Triton. So when you talk about 7 people, you're talking about the ride back. Again, we don't know if he's being honest. He's talking about the ride too. But again, it could be 7 people. I just said 8 to 9, and that's why I said take it as a grain of salt, because we don't know if he's telling the truth. Now, you say 7 people because that's what they said, I believe, on the way back. And it's probably 7. Again, we don't know if he's lying. He said about 8 to 9. He never gave us any for sure answers.
Is it like a big party? Like what is that?
Yeah, well, I mean, obviously music's blasting. It's 4th of July, man. I mean, you know how, I mean, everybody's really excited. And I mean, we had a lot of people loaded down. So obviously our biggest, you know, we're just trying to make sure everybody, you know, gets out there safe. And
he just can't answer the goddamn question.
Answer the damn question. Why did he do this interview? Like he's not even answering the questions. Like, answer the questions.
Like, this is another red flag. What were you doing from the time you left the dock to the time you went to the island? Again, this is another question that is directly related to timeline events the morning of the actual event in question. That's very important when you're investigating, especially something this serious. And he can't answer the, you know, it's the 4th of July, and then everybody's excited, and then we're worried about everybody's safety on the boat. Like, he's all over the fucking place, but he's not answering the question. And he's going to eventually, but he's doing a thing that's deceptive, and I'll explain it more when you hear the rest of his answer.
So, I mean, on the way out there,
he finally says on the way out there, finally gets there.
It was pretty calm. I think it was blowing like 3 or 4 knots. I mean, the waters were clear. It was a great day to be on the water. Sunshine, not cloudy at all. And I mean, it was
more damn word salad. This man has more word salad. All of the words in the in-between. I had to make a call today, and I literally went off on the person. I said, can you please stop saying, they were saying everything, you know, this is reminding me of this dude. Like, he's repeating himself over and over again, but he's not answering the damn question. It's just like, bruh, can you think about what you're going to say? He's not saying shit. It's like, when you're in there talking, but they ain't saying nothing. I was speaking to somebody today. I was like, are you having a good time talking? Because you ain't saying nothing. Like, you are literally running your mouth and you ain't saying shit.
Great day to be out there on 4th of July. And
he was coached to point out the waters were calm. The winds weren't blowing that hard. It was a great day to be on the water. He was coached to say that. I feel strongly that he was coached to say that because it was so awkward that he said it right there. It in no way answered the question. He's avoiding it. The question was, what the fuck were y'all doing on the boat? Were you listening to music? I mean, Officer Tatum set it up for him. Hey, say you were listening to music. He set it up. And the guy instead of giving that easy end, yeah, we were listening to music and drinking beer and hanging out, he's giving this big, long, convoluted roundabout. And he throws in there awkwardly, by the way, it was a nice day out.
So, I mean, we followed each other out, and I mean, it was calm. It was calm. On the way back, it was once
again, here we go with this shit. It was calm. It was calm. He keeps saying the same thing over and over again. Like, when I watched it, I was like, okay, this don't make sense. But now when I watch his video and his reaction to it, I'm like, oh, that is exactly what I felt. Like, this guy is just, he was definitely coached.
And it was calm.
A little more rough.
On the way back, we just skipped the whole island. We just skipped being at the island the whole day. We're already on the way back. Timeline jump.
But it was not anything all my buddies' boats couldn't handle.
Which is also an indication, y'all, what really happened on that damn island. He told us about this jumbled ass ride to the island, but isn't the island the most, the best part of the trip? Like, what happened on the island? He didn't say nothing about what happened on the island. He talks about the ride back home. It doesn't even make sense. He spent more time jumbling around the ride to the island. Why do you think he never told us what happened on the island? Because if you guys recall, you probably heard this before, when they were on that call, the coordinates that they provided, they were on Horn Island. They had not left. I think originally we thought they left and they had allegedly ran into trouble. No, they were still on the island. They had not left the island. That call that we heard, and she said, "Are you on Horn Island?" They had not left the island. That call where we heard, is he dead? Nolan, wake up. They were still on the island. What happened? What happened on the island? He don't mention anything about that.
Or like, it wasn't like we.
Why does he feel it's important to point out to us the conditions of the water and the weather and whether or not the boats can handle it? Literally, this is where I would exploit that information in an interrogation. Hey, Warren, why do you keep mentioning that? Can you explain to me why is that important? There's a reason that he's bringing this up. The reason that he knows and we don't know.
You're getting really beat up or anything. I mean, it was pretty calm.
And so you guys get out there.
So we still don't know what he was doing on the boat on the way out there, by the way. He did mention that there was some music playing. Yeah, it's music. Why? It's 4th of July, brother. Then he goes into these diatribes about the weather nobody asked about.
I'm assuming that you line the boats up, because I'm envisioning the picture of getting out there and there's hundreds of boats. Mm-hmm. There's thousands of people. Yeah. So it wasn't just you guys on a deserted island.
Of course not.
A few people. This is thousands of people out there.
Right.
And there's a lot of people doing what? What does it look like when you first pull up?
I pull up, and we pulled up at 10:30. I mean, it wasn't, early afternoon. I mean, it wasn't, but.
We pulled up at 10:30, early afternoon. 10:30 is early morning or mid-morning. We'll call it mid-morning. But nobody calls 10:30 early afternoon.
Yeah, so I just wanted to walk through that, but I want to kind of switch gears here because we may have time to come back to that. Unless, I don't know, do you guys want to hear the full? It's about 15 more minutes of that. Do you guys want to watch the full of that, the 15 minutes, or you want me to proceed? Because I do got some more stuff to show you. Put a 1 in the chat if you want to watch the rest of the 15 minutes of that, or if you want me to move on. Put a 1 in the chat if you want to watch the full the rest of the 15 minutes. Otherwise, I'm going to move on unless you guys let me know. You guys want to watch? So yes. Okay, so 1. Okay, we got 1 if you want to watch. Okay, so you do. Okay, so let's.
Immediate red flag. Immediate deception. We pulled up 10:30. It was, early afternoon. It was what?
10:30 is, still pretty early in the day.
Yeah, it is early in the day, not early afternoon.
Hey, and when we got there was already 3 rows of boats lined up all the way, like I said, until I could see. And
you're talking, when you say all you can see, you're speaking about miles.
Yeah.
Of boat. When we went out there earlier today, but when we went out there, the island is massive.
Correct.
It's just several miles long.
Roughly 10 to 12 miles.
Roughly. I just happen to know the exact measurement of that island. I did not prepare for this interview. I'm just roughly throwing that off the top of my head.
And
so do you think that the boats were stretching from one end to the next, or just a small area?
So we can come back to it, guys. I just don't want to run out of time here. I just wanted to show y'all that because I thought he was really good. Okay. Now, this is something that every time I listen to these audio, I hear something else. Do y'all, or is it just me? So this is something that I want to show you guys. You know that, what is her name? Her name is, on Instagram, she calls herself That Girl Netta. Okay, That Girl Netta is the lady, the audio engineer who worked on the sound, that made it a little bit more clear for us to hear. Well, she put a statement out, and I had said this yesterday, but I didn't actually have the statement. What I want y'all to understand is the audio that she worked on to make it clear for us to understand. She's saying that based on what she knows, that she feels like what they put out to the public had already been edited. And that's bad because I want to know what really were they saying. So let's get into what she said. So she cleaned the remaining 5 minutes. She says, here is the 5-minute isolated version of the July 4th 𝐶𝐶 call. Nothing was added. I only used grain adjustments and subtractive EQ to make the existing audio easier to hear. No AI enhancements. After spending roughly 24 hours working with this recording, I do hear artifacts that suggest the audio may have been processed or pre-cleaned before release, but I cannot confirm it. So that would imply that the audio that we hear, that we're like, oh my God, they're saying, is he dead? It means, honey, they were saying way more than that. That is what she's saying. She says she can't confirm it. She says she can't confirm it, but based on her experience, she feels like that was the pre-clean version, which is real messed up, y'all, because if they let that go out, that means that it was worse than that. And they said, well, hell, let's just put this out, but we definitely don't want to let them hear what we really heard. This guy, Bart, people are starting to think that he did it. Now, I can't say he did it. I can't confirm he did it, but they're saying that they think he was the one that did it. But listen, I am not letting any of these people off the line, because if you were in that boat and you saw something happen, you're just as guilty. So we're not going to let anybody squeeze out and say, oh, you know, I ain't do nothing. So it seems like that maybe his friends, you know, some people say that they scared of him. I don't know. I don't know what it's like to be scared, because I ain't scared of no motherfucker. Okay. I don't even know what that feels like, but I guess, you know, they scared of him. I don't know. I have no idea. This is what they're saying. You know, I can't confirm it, but it's very interesting because if you guys remember the beginning of this entire case, they said from the beginning, he drowned. No investigation had taken place. You even had the governor coming out and saying what? There's nothing to see here.
Public safety has been in contact with those individuals. Obviously, the autopsy was done by the state medical examiner's office at the Department of Public Safety. I personally know Sheriff John Ledbetter from Jackson County very well. I have not personally spoken to him. I have full confidence that he is going to do his job. And what I will simply say is I don't know all of the details. I don't know all of the facts surrounding the case. I have yet to see a fact or a piece of evidence that suggests any foul play. But if there is, I feel confident that the sheriff's office, the district attorney's office, the members at the Department of Public Safety that deal with these crimes, if there had been one, they will find it and they will do what is necessary.
Now, he puts a high emphasis on nothing happened. There's nothing to see here. But if something had been done, they'll find it. That is not a statement that you make. Veronica Nelson says, that's why the operator said, is anyone alive? Yeah, because there's more to that call that we have never heard. We think we heard something, but I'm not an audio engineer. I don't know anything about that. But for an audio engineer to step up and say, listen, based on my experience, it looks like what was released was already cleaned. And another thing, we're going to go to her 𝐬𝐮𝐬𝐫𝐤 because she's been harassed. Y'all know how these folks do. They get mad when you come out and give information, especially if it's information that the public is going to look at and start looking at their ass side-eyed. Okay. So she's been harassed, and we're going to share her. I think she had a GoFundMe, honey. They got to shut out. That's how they do. I want y'all to understand that white supremacy is real. It's a real group. It's a real group. I want y'all to understand. Okay. They have links to folks. They get your shit shut down and they do all of this weird stuff. The reason why I'm telling you all this, because you need to know that this is not people just making shit up. Okay. This is what they do. But why? Because if Nolan drowned, just like they say Carmelo Anthony really did that, why do they go through all it is to try to harass people and do all of this if it's just a drowning, okay? It kind of lends itself to say that it was something else. Now, I want you guys to, I can't play the video, but I'm gonna have you listen to this call. This is from yesterday. This is Ben Crump calling in, speaking with a content creator, actually.
Attorney Crump on the line. Attorney Crump, thank you so much for being here with us. Good morning. How are you?
I'm good, Queen. Up here working too hard, but other than that, you know, we gotta keep fighting for our children.
I know. I know. I appreciate you being here this morning. I know you're moving. And let me just say this. I'm sure your family has told you this. We so appreciate you doing the good work, but we need you to be strong and healthy to do the good work. So I do hope that you're at least trying to get some time to yourself, get some rest, eat right, drink your water, you know, all that kind of stuff.
Thank you very much. I'm working out, and you know, I got the spirit of your father. We got to stay on the wall and keep speaking truth to power.
That's right. That's right. And you're doing exactly that. So listen, I'm not going to take up too much of your time because I know you're still moving around. I just wanted to have you on because the listeners, they've been obviously hearing so much about this Nolan Wells case, and they are wanting updates. And so I said, well, you know, who better to provide us with updates than Attorney Crump. So I want to start with the autopsy. Obviously, you had the press conference. We learned the results, the inconclusive results of the independent autopsy that was done. Are we still waiting for the state of Mississippi to release the, I guess that would be considered the official autopsy?
We still are waiting for the state of Mississippi to release the first autopsy that they performed, and we don't know how long that is going to take. We believe they already have it, but you know, a lot of times it's, for whatever reason, it's delay, and we just have to keep people focused and calling them out, saying we want transparency, we want a fair and impartial investigation. Because Shauna Renee, what I sometimes believe, a lot of times they delay, and they hope people forget about it. They hope they can sweep it under the rug. But that's why we have to be vigilant.
Indeed. And we have been certainly here at Urban View and also a lot of other independent media organizations. But social media has done a fantastic job of keeping this story alive. And I'm just wondering, from the perspective as an attorney, when we talk about media coverage, all kinds of media, what kind of coverage is helpful and what are you finding maybe is not helpful, so that if any of us may be doing this or we see it, we can call it out, stop it, challenge it?
Now, you know, I think social media is extremely helpful. Obviously, it has its pros and cons, but I think in situations like this, even dating back to Trayvon Martin and the infancy of social media, it was always Black people, sisters and brothers, who pushed the narrative when mainstream media wasn't really pushing it, when mainstream media tried to help the other side, as they often do when it's a Black victim. I remember so vividly talking to your father, the great Joe Madison, the first time about Trayvon Martin, and it was a breath of fresh air to have Black people who had lived experiences, and they knew how the system was. They knew what American society was, and they said, we're going to give you the platform to be able to tell Trayvon's perspective. Well, thank God for social media, because I do believe, Shauna Renee, a lot of people in American society today want to just say, oh no, the sheriff said it wasn't any foul play. These Black people just making a whole lot of noise. And that's what we got to fight against. So I think media is good. And even when you think about the governor attacking me and Reverend Al, yeah, quick, that make headlines in mainstream media. But when it's something that we're pushing and we're saying, look at this here, they won't put it on headlines or mainstream media as quickly. So that's why we need social media. That's why we need, platforms like yours to be able to say, no, what the government is doing is just a distraction. All of them, they're trying to distract us from finding out what really happened to Nolan Wells.
And also, I think what's been very interesting is the way that they've kind of been lining up and pulling out friends of Nolan Wells. Some of the white young men saying, "Oh, we were friends, and I know these people; they would never do it." And then also, I'm noticing that there are a few black friends of Nolan Wells. It seems in some ways like a coordinated effort to kind of control the narrative, and that they're using these young people to do it. Am I sensing that correctly?
Yeah, I think you're right on spot, right on the point. They've all lawyered up. I'm sure they are being advised. And I think that, this is a close-knit community who were in this Bowden community. Nolan's parents probably wasn't into the Bowden community like the parents of, a lot of the individuals who were out there on Horn Island on July 4th. And so I do think they're talking and they're strategizing. But we have to make sure that we continue to dot every I, cross every T, look under every rock. That's why I'm appreciative of social media. Thank God for Reverend Al Sharpton and Tyler Perry and Tara Owens for putting up the reward. We're getting so many calls every day. We got a team of lawyers, team of investigators, team of paralegals. We're working overtime trying to be able to talk to everybody who calls, try to get recorded statements, document them, get affidavits, retain experts, because we're taking on, this history that we're going against. It's not lost on anybody. This is where Emmett Till was slain. This is where Medgar Evers was slain. And, none of their killers were held accountable initially. Emmett Till's never. Not even the woman who lied.
Not even the woman who lied. Exactly. All right, let's talk about a couple other things specifically with this case. So there's a lot of talk about this dispatch call, this call in which the young people called, I guess, the 𝐶𝐶. And in the beginning, it sounded like they were making reference to maybe something happening to Nolan Wells. Do we know if this call is authentic? What does it mean for you? Does it change anything? Are you looking into it?
Well, I will be very careful to what I say because I'm the lawyer of record, so it's very important that we don't speculate. We're going to have sound audio engineers when we get the authentic, original recording, be able to verify their expert medical opinion. But before that, I don't want to speculate, but I do think we're going to get to the truth. Somebody knew what happened to Nolan. We do not believe that Nolan, if it was an accident or drowning, if that's the case, that somebody didn't see something. But even if it was something that was more, we know people know. And so what we're encouraging people and trying to keep telling people, keep calling the tip line. We're putting this puzzle together. We're going to solve this mystery, and we together are going to get justice for Nolan Wells.
Indeed. Okay, in the last 2 minutes that we have, Attorney Crump, I want to talk about this Corey Ruiz.
Okay, guys, I just wanted to show you guys that. So if you want to check her out, she is Shauna Renee. I said Shauna Renee. Shauna Renee. Check her out. She has that video up. Now, somebody put in the chat about the video. His name is Jolly. Can you guys see? Oh, shucks. Let me stop sharing. Okay. Because the video that we were reviewing, I can show you who the guy is. His name is Jolly Good Ginger. Jolly Good Ginger is his name. So you guys can see that as well. But you know, I feel like Ben Crump has information and he is supposed to keep it to himself because listen, Mississippi is not playing fair. I don't care what they say about, you know, getting an autopsy. They're selling things, y'all. This is how these white supremacists act. So you think they're selling the autopsy because he drowned? That don't make sense. Just like they sealed the autopsy of Austin Metcalf, but you got Carmelo in prison for 35 years. Why are you selling the autopsy and he's already in prison? That's why I don't believe Carmelo did it. I believe he did, and they fooled him to think so, but I don't think he did that. Black Diamond 306. Many of us do not know how far are we behind enemy lines. United States fighting the local case, you literally fighting the state that upholds white supremacy, the foundation. Exactly. They are not budging. I don't want to hear anything. How do you not show the autopsy after you done ran around saying that it was an accident? Well, let us see. You don't get to tell us, you show us. You don't get to tell us what happened and think that we just gonna believe you. Don't we got our own brains? We can think for ourselves. If you can't show us, then we don't believe you. Now, there's some more stuff, you know, and again, we're not getting any information. So we're trying to put this together ourselves, right? So this is a picture. Wait, let me go back. So as you guys see there, that is Bart. Remember the infamous pool party, which we know happened because he already said that it happened. That boy Warren said that it happened. But before, remember on this picture, they said, oh, this picture was a week earlier. Why in the hell would somebody have had this on their chest, USA, a week earlier? I don't believe it. I believe this is it. But it's kind of odd because we see Nolan in there. But I don't know how we're supposed to interpret that. I really don't. But we can only believe what we really see. And I don't understand why somebody has USA on their chest a week earlier. But this is the guy, Bart. And he's the one that people are stating that he could have been the culprit. He could have been the culprit. We don't know because they're not speaking. Does he have a lot to lose? I wouldn't give a what he have to lose. A lot of people that go to prison have a lot to lose. He can finish when he get out, and so can his friends, because every last one of them needs to go to prison. Not one, all of them. They can send each other notes while they in jail. So this is the guy. Now, another thing I want you guys to listen to, because this is audio that I found online. And again, every time I find these audios, it's a little different. I can't confirm it, you know, because we do know people online do be creating and making up shit. So I don't know, other than obviously we have listened to the real cleaning of it, but I want y'all to listen to this and y'all just tell me what y'all think, because I don't know.
You have some explaining to do.
Oh! Shut the fuck up!
How many adults, sir? That was the question. Hello, can you hear me?
Did you guys hear that part? I don't know if you've heard that in the original one or any of the other versions of it that we heard, but I heard somebody say push him off or something. I'm gonna rewind it.
Edmiston Jr., you have some explaining to do.
Oh! Shut the fuck up!
How many adults, sir? That was the question. Hello, can you hear me?
Y'all hear that? Drop them in the water or something like that?
Better jump in and pull the plug, Bart, while you're going.
Bart Edmiston Jr., you have some explaining.
I'm going to rewind it a little bit because I thought I heard something say drop them in the water or something. Again, we can't confirm this. Can't confirm this, okay? Because this was on the internet.
You have some explaining to do.
Get the fuck up!
Why would you say get the F up? I feel like it must have been a fight or something, because why would you say get the F up? It's almost like we fight and get up. I want to hit you again. What does that mean? Get the F up.
You have some explaining to do.
Get the fuck up! Damn it, Bart.
Then they say, damn it, Bart. What did Bart do?
How many adults, sir? That was the question.
Drop them in the water.
After hearing Bart's name twice in that 𝐶𝐶𝐭 audio in the Nolan Wells case, I decided to see if maybe he's still around on social media. And sure enough, he's still on Facebook. So I sent him a message. It hasn't been read yet, and I'm sure I'll be hearing from his lawyers today. But here's what I asked Bart. Hi, Bart. I'm an investigative journalist. Would you care to comment on the 𝐶𝐶𝐭 audio that names you twice? You claimed you were out of town. Where were you? Do you have receipts from your travels, meals, or other proof of being out of town? Or were you on that boat? Why did they say, damn it, Bart? And why were you instructed by name to undo the plug while you were going? And while he was...
Now listen, when she said why he was going, did she mean urinating? Like, what does she mean when she say that? Because originally I did hear something like that, but I don't be knowing what to, believe or what not to believe, especially when it's just floating around on the internet. Ah, that's a good one. Remember, this call is around 4 p.m., the same time Javon said the fight with Tristan happened with another guy. I got to go back and look at that because, that don't make sense, because Javon said, not Javon, Tristan said he left early. So him leaving early to me is not 4 o'clock. So I got to go back and look at the time on that, because you could be on to something. But the thing with it, Tristan said he left. He said he left early. So if he left at 4 o'clock, I wouldn't say that was early, considering that they left at 4:30. But I don't know. So one of the commenters said, since they're so good at water, they can spend their time behind bars planning a sewer escape. They need to be in prison. This is these privileged wannabe white folks. When I say wannabe, I mean that they think that they the shit, and they think that they can actually commit crimes and don't go to prison. Well, I know a way to stay out of prison. Just don't commit crimes. That's generally the way to do it. You can definitely stay out of prison if you don't commit crimes. But to take someone's life, I don't believe that Nolan was doing any drugs, but I believe that they could have given him some, because he doesn't appear to be from that type of household. But I know how these white kids get down. I know how they get down. I remember when my kids was in high school, they went to a predominantly school with all, white kids. Did y'all know that because they, at least in this particular school, because they were so heavily into drugs, they created a whole program for them so that they wouldn't go to jail. So I know how they get down. I know exactly how they get down.
Of about a mile or less than a mile of boats?
Well, I think there was boats all the way around the entire island, but I think some spots were more popular than others. Like the West Tip is usually very, very crowded on the 4th of July. And everybody knows that. So that's where a lot of people park, because they want to be around other people. And the East End's a little more, there's not as many people, but there's still a lot of boats out there. It's not like no one, every area of Horn Island is covered 100%.
Wow. So you get out there, y'all jump out. What do? When I say jump out, you're obviously not just sitting on the boat. The island is there. Like, what exactly are people doing there? Like, are you spending more time in the water, on the island, in the boat? Like, how is that look out there?
I mean, everybody, as soon as you get there, I mean, there's people on boats, grabbing drinks and, food, whatever else. Like, I mean, everybody is fully prepared for the 4th of July. They bring, all the drinks.
Except for his friend Bart, who just called this morning. He was not fully prepared.
Some food that they need, because, I mean, they've been preparing for 4th for a little while now. But
not Bart.
When we got there, I helped my buddies tie the boats up because we were...
Again, he talks about being prepared, as he said before, but I'm not understanding how is being prepared and then calling your friend the day of saying, hey, you want to go out on the boat? So he never really provided any information as to why it was like a last minute thing. Like that just doesn't add up, because you cannot prepare for something all while not preparing for it. It just don't make sense.
The tie line was right here. The Palm Beach was in the middle, and then the Triton was on the outer side.
Notice how this guy who can't give me a singular fucking coherent detail immediately locks in to tell you exactly where every boat was.
And
the order.
There was about a drop off from where the bow was. I mean, if you jumped off the bow, you were probably about neck deep in water. But if you got off the stern, you were probably waist deep in water. I mean, but when we got there,
bow's the front, stern's the back, in case you don't know.
Tied up, got, bow and rear anchor set, and we tied up all the boats, made sure they were good, and everyone just got on the water. Then eventually, next thing you know, it's our group. And then, next thing you know, there's 50 other people around.
Next thing you know, it's our group. Next thing you know, it's...
Again, word salad. He should, if you look up word salad, his name should be right in there. He say a whole bunch of nothing. He's just literally talking, but it's like you see his lips, but nothing is coming out.
The way he speaks is deceptive.
And then
when I'm interested in bow's the front, stern's the back, in case you don't know.
Tied up, got, bow and rear anchor set, and we tied up all the boats, made sure they were good, and everyone just got on the water. Then,
so why is he even giving us this tutorial of nothing? We tied up the boats. Generally, you say, hey, we went to Horn Island, we got there, we did this, and why is he telling us about tying up the boats? Womp, 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 womp. Tell us about the beer you was drinking. Tell us about the herbs you was taking. I mean, you're telling us a whole bunch of nothing.
Eventually, next thing you know, it's our group. And then, next thing you know, there's 50 other people around.
Next thing you know, it's our group. Next thing you know, it's the way he speaks is deceptive.
And then
when I'm interested in timeline. When you don't speak in chronological order, red flag for me.
It just grew and grew as the day came on. And, that's just how it was. Everybody's drinking, it's 4th of July. Everyone's just trying to enjoy themselves. And, it's a big party, basically. Big party.
I want you to notice in this entire answer, he never said what they were doing. He said what everybody was doing.
Never one time. And that's what I'm talking about. Can we get to the part of what you were doing? You told us the ride. Who talks like that? Somebody say, what you do? You went out last night. What you do? Are you going to tell them, oh, we got in the car. We stopped at 3 stoplights. We had to go get some gum. What the hell did you do? I only want to know what you did. You don't need to tell me about you tying up the boat. All of this is word salad and fluff. He's not telling us anything.
He keeps doing that. He keeps generically referencing what happens generically on Horn Island on the 4th of July. He never... Tatum asks him, hey, what do you guys do on the boat on the way out? Never tells you that. Tells you all about the weather. What did you guys do when you got there? Well, everybody out there just drinks and eats. That's what people do on Horn Island. This is generically what happens. Never answers the question. That's on purpose.
Yeah, so y'all pretty much having a good time. Just like anybody would imagine, 18-year-olds, probably 20-year-olds, college students, out on the island, women, You know, you probably had alcohol.
Of
so
course,
y'all having
yeah.
a good time.
Yeah, of course.
And so where's Nolan in this? You know, you guys out there, the friend groups out there.
Now keep in mind, this is what he said. I love to use people's words against them because there is no damn allegedly, okay? He said that him and Nolan was best friends, although they were best friends, but he told us he went and got food, but Nolan didn't come. Now, if this your boy, one thing you're going to do is when you eat your food, let me go get my boy so we can go get some food. So he told us he was best friends with Nolan, but he didn't even ride out with Nolan, according to him. But listen to what he says when asked where was Nolan. Listen to this.
Both.
Watch that swallow. Watch that uncomfortable shift in demeanor. He just mentioned you were probably underage drinking. And they go, yeah, of course. And then he says, where was Nolan? He goes, watch this uncomfortable shift in demeanor when he asked that question.
Yeah, of course.
And so where's Nolan in this? You know, you guys out there, the friend groups out there.
Looks away off in the distance. I don't know who's standing off camera, but he looks in that direction, swallows. He's uncomfortable.
There are 3 boats full of people that came out there that seem to be the closest friend group.
Right.
Where's Nolan in this in comparison to where you and others are at?
Well, you know, I had a couple conversations with Nolan that day, and
I had a couple conversations with. That's where you start.
Listen to this. This is crazy. When asked about on the island and seeing Nolan, I had a couple of conversations with Nolan that day, but I thought you were best friends. If I'm going partying, I used to have this one friend. The only thing that, well, I won't say the only thing, but one of the things that I appreciated about her is we was going to have fun. Like, we were going to have fun. That's important when you're going on a trip. You don't want to be with somebody that's boring. So when we get there, listen, I'm not losing sight of the chick that's be having the most fun. Like, I'm going to make sure because we're there to have fun. Now, he done told y'all that Nolan is his friend, but he don't even really talk to him when he get there. See, he's establishing his alibi. He wants you all to understand that he wasn't with Nolan on the island. Because if he starts to say, you know, I was with Nolan, then people going to be looking side-eye and say, well, you didn't see what happened to him. So listen to his responses.
In my line of work, where people start to answer your question is very, very telling. The question was quite pointed and specific. Where was Nolan? Rather than saying where Nolan was, he starts off with, I had a couple conversations with Nolan. I think this serves 2 purposes. I think it's to, once again, to lead the viewer to believe he was such a close friend with Nolan. He's my best buddy. I think that's number 1. I also think number 2 is to try to validate him as a source of information. But let's hear what he says.
I talked to him and a couple of my other buddies.
Once again, every time he brings Nolan in, he has to bring in the other buddies. Have you noticed that every single time he does that, it's never just
right? He's asked, whenever asked a direct question about Nolan, he's always lumping in the other friends, which I feel like Nolan was an associate that he obviously met from his friend group, but they have no direct connection. They don't hang out together by themselves.
It's him and Nolan. It's him, Nolan, and the other buddies. It's an associative relationship.
Yeah, in a group, I was not focused on anyone solely, like looking and pointing anyone out, because there's so many people out there. I mean, I was talking to my friends that I haven't seen in a while from high school. I was talking.
So now he tells you he was not focused on Nolan, is what he said. But if you guys are there together and he's your best friend, you don't even know where the hell he at. You see what I'm saying? This don't make sense. If I'm going somewhere with my best friend, I'm not watching her every move, but I know she over there. You see what I'm saying? I can hear you. So I'm going to be within voice of you. Okay. So he's trying to make it seem like they were best friends, but hell, he didn't see Nolan on the boat because he was busy talking to other folks, which don't make sense.
From people I knew from college. I was talking to, everybody my age and even people older than us were, over there. Like, I mean, it was just a regular thing. We're all used to this. We've been out to the islands before. My buddies don't just go out to the island on 4th of July, but they go out, every weekend. Like, I feel
this answer is already gone all the way away from Nolan and completely to his buddies. Very deceptive.
Fish the islands. I don't just, fish around Horn Island. I fish around Ship Island too. So I'm very familiar with the islands, and
had nothing to do with the question.
I feel like it was just a big, I talked to Nolan, and, you know, Nolan was drinking. Everybody
has to point out Nolan's drinking.
Was drinking, most of everybody. And I mean, Nolan seemed completely fine every time I talked to him. We had just regular conversations. And
okay, so he tells you Nolan was drinking. Now that is going to the narrative that they are currently painting, because have we heard anything about Nolan was drinking? Now Nolan was drinking, and now what you guys are starting to see is Nolan is being attacked in the media, but this is not something we have not saw before. So they planted this information with this guy that Nolan was drinking. Okay, Nolan was drinking. We didn't hear nothing about Nolan drinking prior to this interview. I don't even understand why that was so important, because he's already stated or made it clear that they were drinking. So would Nolan be a part of they? But he says Nolan was drinking. Why?
You know, Nolan was making me laugh. I had a couple conversations.
No specifics on making me laugh. Just trust me, he was generically making me laugh.
With Nolan and Javon, Nolan and my buddy James. Nolan.
I had a couple conversations with Nolan and Javon, Nolan and James, never just with Nolan.
And I mean, I could tell you, I mean, I talked to Nolan a couple times, but it wasn't like I was strictly sitting there talking to Nolan the whole day. I mean, there was hundreds of people I knew out there. So
yeah. And
I grew up having a best friend, like the one he's describing, the one's like a brother. And it didn't matter where my best friend and I went, we were kicking it together. Other people.
Exactly. I just said that. If me and my best friend is going somewhere, I don't need to follow you with my eyes, because I got ears. So I may not see you, but I can hear you. Where's she at? Oh, she back there, because I can hear her talking. But the fact that you're saying that you didn't know what he was, but he your best friend. He wasn't your best friend.
Might kick it with us, but we were kicking it together. So I just think that he's misrepresenting their relationship. I strongly believe he's misrepresenting between the way he talks and way it always sounds associative, and the fact that he provides no specific examples about Nolan. They're all generic.
Nolan said something interesting you told me about.
I want you to listen to this question. I want you to listen to this answer, because this is where he ends the first part of this interview, and it is, oh my God, red flag central.
Hundreds of people I knew out there.
I had to back it up because I need you to listen.
And Nolan said something interesting you told me about this. Something he said to you.
I want you to notice there was a cut there too. Notice the cut right as he starts asking the question about Nolan. Warren gets uncomfortable again, and then there's an edit cut.
Nolan said something interesting you told me about this. Something he said to you, I would say would be indicative of y'all's friendship.
Right.
And then he also mentioned
Tatum's trying to establish their friendship is so close. He said something to you that I would say is indicative of your friendship, because the words that Nolan said shows how close of friends you guys are. Listen to what it says.
And this is the race Tatum trying to help him. Like, if he was conducting an interview, then he should have conducted the interview. You don't need to try to help him to prove that he's innocent.
Something to you about that particular day and what it meant to him.
Right.
And could you share that?
Right. Yeah. So Nolan and my buddy Javon are talking, and
Nolan and my buddy Javon are talking. Once again, not Nolan and him.
You know, I grew up with Nolan, and
we're going back to growing up with Nolan. We just went backwards for no reason.
Nolan's, you know, just all, like I said, like just so joyful, like always happy. Like every picture I have with Nolan.
Why are we talking about Nolan's pictures? And what did he say to you? That was the question asked.
A picture I have of Nolan, he's smiling. I mean, like he's always happy. If I always need like a shed of light, I'm calling Nolan, you know. And
so it's like, what the hell is he even saying? It's just, it gives nothing. It gives nothing is what it gives. I have no reason to believe that they were ever friends. I believe they were friendly. They knew each other. But people can stop with the narrative saying that they were best friends. This boy don't know shit about Nolan. Just because you went to elementary and middle school and high school with somebody, That don't make y'all friends. Even in this Race Batum Tatum's interview, he says, oh, Christine went to school with his mama. What that mean? I went to school with people. I know who they are, but we're not friends. That means absolutely nothing. Just because you went to school with someone, some people you go to school with, you may not even know them, but he tried to paint it as if Christine, the mother, lied because they went to high school together. Do you know how long ago that is? If Christine knew her in high school and they were friends then and they really didn't have any friendship since then, she don't know that lady. That was a very long time ago.
Nolan and I laugh and joke a lot. Like, that's how our friend group is.
That's how our friend group is. Not me and Nolan, just our friend group.
Jokingly laugh. You know, no one takes anything that serious. You know, we enjoy our time together. You know, I mean, there's never any awkwardness within our friend group. We're very, very tight. So if I ever need to get something off my chest or talk to anybody, I'm talking to all my friends. I'm not just talking to like specifically anybody. I would go out like.
Notice how he's making it very group.
And now, when asked again about Nolan, he's talking about all of his friends. What the hell does Nolan have to do with your other friends? If I have a group of friends, we're in this group, I still have my individual relationships with the people. If I don't have individual relationships with everybody in the group, then we may be in a group, but I'm not real close to everybody in the group. So when asked about that, he again distracts and say about his other friends. What the hell do they got to do with this conversation? Him and Nolan, they were not good friends. They just knew each other.
General, because he knows that his relationship with Nolan is not as he has represented it. But listen to when he finally tells you what Nolan said that was so indicative of their friendship.
And if I'm having issues with something, I go talk to my group chat, and my guys are there to, you know, give me a hand anytime I need it. And all my guys are, you know, all my buddies are the same exact way. You know, Nolan was the same exact way. If you ever need.
There we go with the repeating words, the same exact way. Nolan was the same exact way, same exact way. You know what I should have did? I should have wrote down every word that he repeated like 2 and 3 times. That shows that he was nervous.
Something, I'm here, man. Like, that's how he was. So
never answered the question. He's basically saying, if you ever need something, I'm here. That's how he was. He didn't say he said that to me that day. Officer Tatum is trying to phrase the question to imply that on Horn Island that day, Nolan walked up with him, patted him on the shoulder and said, brother, you ever need something, I'm here for you. That's how they're trying to present it. They're trying to present it in a very deceptive way that Nolan came up and said, if you ever need something, I'm here for you. And in this convoluted, roundabout, fucking all over the place answer that he gave, he said, Nolan was the kind of guy, if you ever need something, I'm here for you. That's how he was. Not Nolan said that to me. Not Nolan told me that directly that day. This is this is disgustingly deceptive.
And then you guys get ready to leave prematurely.
Right.
And explain that, because you guys got there around 10.
And that's where he ends the interview right here. The next part, the part 2, he goes to Horn Island. And oh my God, I found a couple spots in that interview on Horn Island. It is red flag to the fucking highest degree. I'm going to show you one. And when I show it to you, you're going to be like, oh my God, that's bad. But let me real quick edit this video. I think I'm already at 45 minutes. So in the interest of not making this video 2-3 hours long, I'll edit this and get it up, and I'll do the second video that he did with him in a second video myself, because it'll end up being 45 minutes. If you enjoy this type of analysis, please do me a favor. Hit like, hit subscribe, follow for more.
Okay, guys. So I believe
folks, investigation.
Oops, shucks. I believe I showed y'all his YouTube channel. I mean, obviously, if you want to check it out yourself, I did show y'all that. Give me a second. Give me a second, y'all. I got to send this text. This is important. Okay, so again, if you guys want to check out his other videos, I haven't looked at the other ones, but I will But what we are seeing now is the media is doing exactly what they do. So let me kind of share y'all my screen here. We've saw this with every single case, where a Black person has been treated unfairly. Okay. Whenever it's a Black victim, the media go in. We have saw TMZ. We saw Nation. I don't even remember. I did a video on of it. Give me a second, y'all, because I'm trying to. Okay, sorry about that. So basically, whenever there's a Black victim, they come together and they start slandering them. So that's one of the reasons too why I just start covering these stories, because I was just sick and tired of it. Like, I feel like we deserve to have our stories told the right way. I mean, if you guys recall, the mainstream media wasn't even talking about Nolan Wells. They wasn't even talking about the Nolan Wells case. They didn't give a damn about the Nolan Wells case. But now, since everybody want to know about Nolan Wells case, guess what? It's money for them. So they don't care. So I just want y'all to understand, it ain't that they care. It's because they get to make money off of it, because everybody is interested. It's a difference when you care opposed to when you're just putting up content because it makes you money. That's why when people come in here and tell me about stuff, if I can't verify it, I don't even want to talk about it, because I know that people do that as well on YouTube. They just make up shit. And I feel like when we're dealing with real stories, come on now, go do that with reality TV. Don't come in here making up shit when this is somebody's real life. So we'll talk about that a little bit later. But what else do I want to show y'all? Oh, I know what I want to show you all. Remember Janetta?
Explain what I did, what you're looking at on the screen, and why I chose to approach this.
Now, this is the sound engineer. I want y'all to listen to what she has to say, because I know everybody might not know who she is. So just listen to this for a moment.
Audio the way that I did. As a professional audio engineer with experience in dialogue editing, dialogue cleanup, sound design, and post-production, I decided to work on that 𝐶𝐶 call using traditional audio processing techniques rather than relying on any AI voice separation or AI enhancement. My goal was pretty much to preserve as much of the original recording as possible while making the quieter dialogue and background audio easier to hear. So I basically used techniques such as subtractive EQ, compression, gain adjustments, noise reduction, frequency isolation, and other traditional processing methods. So what I did was I separated Vicky, the 𝐶𝐶 dispatcher, from Warren and the audio originating from the boat so that I can concentrate more closely on what was happening behind and around Warren, pretty much on the boat. And I specifically chose not to rely on AI because aggressive AI enhancements and voice isolation tools can sometimes introduce artifacts and distort the speech or create ambiguity around the sounds that were originally present. And for something this serious, I wanted my processing to remain as conservative as possible. You'll also notice time code and dialogue written on the side of the screen and pop up during each segment. That dialogue represents what I personally hear as an audio engineer while processing and repeatedly reviewing these sections. I'm pretty much providing it as a listening reference, not as a declaration that my interpretation is the only possible interpretation. And that's important. I want you to listen for yourself, use headphones if you have them, listen closely, and decide with your own ears what you believe is being said. You can also return to the original unprocessed recording and compare directly with what you're hearing here. You'll also notice that my time code may not match the regular timestamp on the original uploaded video. And that's because I'm working inside a professional post-production timeline, a digital audio workstation, basically using SMPTE time code, which in film, that's displayed in hours, minutes, seconds, and frames. Film and TV timelines are completely different from timestamps that you see when you're watching regular videos or when you're watching a movie and you hit pause. So basically the time code on the screen is there to identify the precise location within my working session, not to represent the elapsed timestamp displayed by the original video player. And I hope that makes sense. For this first video, I'm sharing only approximately 37 seconds of the call. I originally intended to continue much further, but once I separated the dispatcher from the boat and started concentrating exclusively on the background dialogue, what I believed I was hearing became extremely difficult for me to process emotionally, and I needed to take a mental break. But I wanted to release this portion because some of the details that stood out most to me occur very early in the call, like right at the top of the call. And so I'm gonna let the audio play. Read my transcription if you want to reference, but don't allow it to determine what you hear. I want you to listen first, listen again, compare it with the original recording, and then judge it with your own ears. I hope this breakdown helps. And my
Hey, we're at the west tip of Horn, and our village pump stopped working. We're sinking. Can y'all please come? We have a membership.
Shut the fuck up! Damn it, Bart.
I'm sorry, y'all. I had started to do my donation. Let me do my donation, and then I'm gonna share the screen for Miss Janetta. Am I saying her name right? Miss Brantley. Actually, I can share. Let me just share, and then I can just finish it. Because if you guys can go ahead and donate to her 𝐬𝐮𝐻𝐿. They've been, this is what they do. Don't even let it get under your skin. Don't even feel any kind of way. Let these old demons and these devils do what they do, okay? Let them do what they do. Yes, Nancy Grace is like a benevolent Karen. You are absolutely right. Let's not feel like Nancy Grace is the savior, honey, because if Nancy Grace couldn't if she couldn't rack up 1 million views in one day and collect a big check, she wouldn't be talking about this, y'all. We're not done. But I want you guys to go to her 𝐬𝐮𝐻𝐿, okay? Ashley has been harassed by these old nasty old racist people. In fact, let me go to her Instagram really fast because I need to make sure I'm on the right. Let me make sure I got her. What is her Instagram name? Okay, that girl Netta. Okay, let me go look. All right, so let me go to her. It's DAT that girl Netta. And listen, you can donate 25, whatever you have to donate. Like everybody, we all different. So we all got different amounts. So whatever you can donate, that's what you donate. So I want to go into, because this is her last post, but this is the one recently that she put up. They were starting a GoFundMe, and of course, the white tees got it shut down, honey. Let them folks keep all a bitterness and angriness to themselves. I know they be over there having a heart attack because how do you have so much hatred in your body for somebody you don't even know? That got to be weird. That's actually funny to me that these people, they hate us so much and we don't give a fuck. You see what I'm saying? It's weird, but don't feel bad. We're gonna run this shit up. Make sure you donate. And listen, again, you can donate $20, $10, what I don't know what you have, but let's donate some money to this young lady, okay? Because we gonna show these white tea folks that they really need to get therapy and sit down because we don't give a damn. Bitch, get out my comments. Fuck out of here. I'm not even addressing you no more. You're blocked. But anywho, let's make sure we show Miss Brantley, Janetta some support. I'm actually getting ready to donate $100. So I'm about to end it here. Thank you all for your support. I appreciate everyone in the chat, but I will see you guys later on. If you can make sure to like the video before you leave. Talk to y'all later.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm listening. Go on. Yes, I'm typing it all down.
Clear, spilling tea, no fear, no fear. They talk loud, but I'm still here. Lakeysha Keysha, say it clear. I don't lies right here. Spilling tea, no fear. I'm still here. Da 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 da. Spilling tea, no sugar, no fear. They talk loud, but I'm still here. Lakeysha Keysha, say it clear. Real talk lives right here. Yeah. Spilling tea, no sugar, no fear. Lakeysha Keysha, say it clear. Real talk lives right here. Yeah. Make sure you subscribe to Lakeysha Keysha, my dear. Hey. I'm still here, no fear, but I'm still here. Lakeysha Keysha, say it clear. Real talk lives right here.
Stretch words like
spilling tea, no sugar, no fear. Make sure you subscribe to the Lakeysha Keysha channel.